Tonight is not just a night. It is the night. Not a coincidence, not a flicker on the calendar. This is a divine appointment, a moment etched into the scrolls of eternity. God said, you will be rewarded tonight. The clocks of men tick in seconds, but the clock of heaven ticks in seasons. And tonight, May 8th, 2025, is not just a time, it is a season-shifting moment. You stood when others fell. You believed when it made no sense. You held the line when your strength was nearly gone. And the Lord has seen it all. You've prayed prayers you thought were lost in the wind. But they were not lost, they were planted. They took root in the soil of obedience. And now, those seeds are breaking the ground. Heaven has issued the decree. The time of waiting is over. The reward is now. Do you not perceive it? The atmosphere is shifting. The veil is thinning. The angels are moving. The shofar of heaven is sounding. It is the call to receive. What was delayed will no longer be denied. The reward is on the way, not by might, not by power, but by his Spirit. Some of you have been walking through fire, but the fire did not destroy you. It refined you. You were not forgotten. You were being forged. And tonight, the Lord says, the forge turns to favor. The enemy has tried everything. He brought discouragement. He sent delay. He whispered lies in the night, but he failed. Because what God has ordained cannot be canceled. What he has promised must come to pass. And tonight it begins. This reward is not just silver and gold. It is something far greater. It is the opening of your eyes, the lifting of your head, the restoration of your voice. It is encounter. It is purpose. It is destiny. And when you see it, when it manifests, when it breaks through the veil, you will fall to your knees. Not because of what you received, but because of who gave it. Tonight, the heavens declare, you will know that I am the Lord. Not just in theory, not just in theology, but in experience, in fire, in glory, in power. May 8th, 2025, write it down, mark it, remember it, for on this night the Lord speaks. You will be rewarded. Before you were formed, before your name was spoken by human lips, there was a moment set aside in the heavenly places, an appointment not made by man, not scheduled by clocks, but inscribed by the eternal hand of God. This moment, this night is not ordinary. It's not part of a routine, not one more step in a sequence of time. It is divine. It has been waiting for you, waiting for your arrival. It has waited for your faith to be tested, your heart to be purified, your spirit to be awakened. This is what the prophets glimpsed, what the psalmist sung about in mystery, what the ancient scrolls pointed toward. You are standing at the edge of something that was written long before you walked into this world. Every battle you endured, every silent night, every prayer you whispered in tears, it was all leading here. You thought you were surviving a season, but you were actually being summoned to a moment. The shaking you felt wasn't to break you, it was to position you. Heaven does not waste time. What seems random is often orchestrated. What feels delayed is actually aligned. And now, time and destiny are meeting. Your faith has drawn it in. Your persistence has brought it near. You have not missed it. You are standing in it. And though others may not see what's happening, though the world may not mark this day, the realm of the Spirit is rejoicing, for tonight, eternity collides with now, and what was hidden is being revealed. The path has led here. The signal has been given. The gates are opening. The air is thick with purpose. Something sacred is unfolding. God does not operate in the randomness of human timekeeping. He does not rush, and he is never late. His movements are exact, calculated, and flawless. Every second, every heartbeat, every rising and setting of the sun is part of a divine rhythm, a heavenly choreography that unfolds with unshakable purpose. What looks like delay to man is often divine alignment. What appears as silence is God positioning all things, seen and unseen, into perfect order. There are appointed times in heaven, momed, sacred appointments, set long before our days began. And when those moments arrive, no force in hell or on earth can alter them. God moves when everything is ready, the people, the places, the hearts, the conditions. He sees the full picture. the threads woven across generations, and acts when the weight of his purpose aligns with the readiness of your spirit. You may have felt forgotten, but all along, the clock of heaven was ticking, slowly, steadily, perfectly. While you were waiting, God was arranging. While you were questioning, he was refining. While you were hoping, he was preparing. You thought you were in delay, but you were in divine development. The moment you are entering now was crafted with precision. It arrives not because of effort, not because of chance, but because the fullness of time has come. And when it comes, it is unstoppable, undeniable, unshakable. You don't need to force it. You need only to discern it. God's timing is not your timing, but it is always right. The reward that comes from God is never random, never without foundation. It is the manifestation of a journey walked in faith, often in shadows, often without applause. It is the fruit of obedience, when obedience cost you everything, when it would have been easier to turn back, to blend in, to let go. But you didn't. You stood. You walked forward. You kept saying yes, even when the heavens were silent and the road was steep. And now, what was done in the hidden places is about to be revealed in the open. Obedience is not glamorous. It rarely feels powerful in the moment. It feels like sacrifice. It feels like being misunderstood. It feels like giving when you have nothing left to give. But obedience is what heaven responds to. It is the language of trust, the currency of the kingdom. When you obey, you align yourself with God's will, and alignment always precedes release. You didn't obey for the reward, but the reward was written into the obedience from the beginning. Every act of faith, every moment you chose righteousness over comfort, truth over convenience. These were not forgotten. They were recorded, multiplied, consecrated. You planted seeds with your surrender, and now those seeds are bursting through the soil. The reward is not a bribe. It is a response. It is the visible evidence of invisible faith. It is heaven's way of saying, I saw you, I heard you, I remember you. The manifestation is coming not because you strived, but because you obeyed. And when heaven honors obedience, it does so in a way that no man, no devil, no circumstance can prevent. The sound of the shofar is not just a sound. It is a call, a cry from the depths of eternity, piercing through the veil between heaven and earth. It is the sound that awakens sleepers, that stirs dry bones, that breaks the silence of delay. When the shofar sounds, it means heaven is on the move. It is not symbolic. It is prophetic. It is a summons to rise, to prepare, to receive what God has appointed. The shofar was blown at moments of divine visitation, at Sinai, at Jericho, at the call to war, and the announcement of Jubilee. It is the sound of shift, of breakthrough, of divine timing reaching its fullness. When the shofar sounds, it marks the end of one thing and the beginning of another. It breaks cycles. It declares to principalities and powers that their time is up. It announces that God's people are being called out, set apart, and elevated. The sounding of the shofar is not soft or passive. It is sharp, urgent, commanding. It penetrates spiritual resistance. It announces a change in atmosphere. You may not hear it with your ears, but your spirit knows. You feel the shaking. You sense the rising. You discern that something is different because it is. The shofar does not blow without reason. It blows when something has been completed and something new is being released. It is heaven's trumpet, and it's sounding over your life. It is the Father's way of saying, awake, arise, align, for what I have spoken is about to come forth. This is not a time for passivity. This is a time to lift your eyes, to stand in readiness, because the call has gone out and the gates are opening. The shofar is sounding, and nothing will remain the same. There are seeds you planted in seasons of silence, seeds of prayer, of faith, of obedience, of surrender, seeds you buried with tears when no one saw, when no one understood, when you questioned whether anything would ever come of it. You walked through dry ground, believing something was happening beneath the surface, even when all around you looked barren. You kept sowing, not because you saw results, but because you trusted the one who gave you the seed. Now, in the unseen realm, something has shifted. The ground has begun to tremble. The roots have grown deep. The pressure beneath the surface has become too great to remain hidden. What was planted in secret is now breaking through. The process was slow. The nights were long. But what felt like delay was God preparing a deeper foundation. The seed had to die before it could live. It had to remain hidden before it could bear fruit. And now it breaks forth. The reward that is coming wasn't built overnight. It was formed in the dark. It was strengthened in isolation. God did not forget what you buried in faith. He has watched over every hidden thing, protected it from decay, guarded it from destruction. And now, under divine timing, those hidden things are emerging. Not small, not fragile, but full, strong, and unstoppable. This is the season where the private becomes public, where the invisible becomes visible, where the promises that lived only in your heart begin to take form in your hands. The world will see what God saw all along, not just what you planted, but what you endured to protect it. The breakthrough is not coming from somewhere else. It's rising from what was already in you, planted by heaven, watered by your faith, and now released by His timing. The enemy saw the calling on your life long before you understood it yourself. He recognized the potential, the purpose, the anointing. That is why the warfare has been so relentless, the resistance so intense, the delays so heavy. He tried to wear you down, not by destroying you in a moment, but by exhausting you over time. He tried to make you question the promise, to abandon the journey, to believe the lie that nothing was changing. Delay became his weapon, hoping it would become your prison. But delay is not denial. Delay is not defeat. It is often a sign that the enemy fears what's coming. He tried to interrupt the process, but he could not erase what God has written. He created confusion, tried to reroute your steps, stirred up fear, launched distractions. Yet despite all of it, you're still standing, you're still believing, you're still here. Because the purpose in you is greater than the pressure around you. The enemy can delay, but he cannot deny. He cannot touch what God has sealed. He cannot revoke what heaven has decreed. Every attempt to stop you has only refined you. Every setback has only made the breakthrough more glorious. What he meant for evil, God has already turned for good. The tables have shifted. The season has changed. The enemy sees what's coming and he can't stop it. Not now, not anymore. You walked through storms you didn't think you'd survive. You stood in the fire and came out without the smell of smoke. He tried to silence your voice, but all he did was sharpen it. What was once held back is now breaking forward. What the enemy tried to bury is rising in resurrection power. He cannot deny the call. He cannot deny the favor. He cannot deny the reward that God has declared is yours. There are times when heaven seems quiet, when prayers feel like they vanish into the air, when you wonder if God is listening at all. The silence becomes weighty, almost deafening. You search for signs, listen for a whisper, but nothing comes. Yet in the silence, something is being forged. The silence is not God's absence, it's His preparation. He allows the quiet to deepen your roots, to cleanse your motives, to stretch your faith beyond the need for immediate answers. But there comes a point when the silence breaks, not with a whisper, but with a roar. Suddenly, what was invisible becomes undeniable. The stillness gives way to movement. What felt like delay becomes divine revelation. And in a single moment, everything shifts. You realize He was there all along, orchestrating, shaping, listening, not speaking, because He was building something greater than words could explain. There are sacrifices you've made, tears you've shed, and acts of obedience that went unnoticed by people. You gave when it cost you. You stood when it was lonely. You remained faithful when walking away seemed easier. Others may have moved on. Even you may have forgotten certain moments. But heaven hasn't. The throne of God remembers what earth overlooks. The King keeps record of what man ignores. And when the appointed time comes, those forgotten acts become the very things He uses to reward you. The unnoticed becomes honored. The unseen becomes celebrated. God does not reward based on popularity. He rewards based on faithfulness. He never overlooks what was done in His name, even if no one else saw it. What was buried by time is now being uncovered by glory. Every forgotten moment of obedience is coming into remembrance before the throne. What was once working against you is now shifting in your favor. The power dynamics in your life are reversing. The opposition that seemed immovable is losing its grip. God is not just bringing a breakthrough, He's flipping the entire structure. The tables are turning. Those who mocked will marvel. The rejected are being seated in places of honor. The ones who are behind are suddenly ahead. This is the justice of God, not revenge, but restoration. He balances what was imbalanced. He exalts what was humbled, and He does it in such a way that no one can take credit but Him. You're stepping into a divine reversal. What was meant to take you out is being used to lift you up. Where you were once the borrower, you are becoming the lender. Where you are the tail, you are becoming the head. The shift is not coming, it has already begun. There is a sacred pouring taking place, not visible to the natural eye, but very real in the spirit. Heaven is releasing fresh oil, the anointing, the empowerment, the divine enablement to walk in what you could not walk in before. The oil does not fall randomly. It falls on those who have been set apart, crushed, tested, and proven. It falls on those who have been in the hidden place, who remained faithful when no one watched. The oil represents heaven's yes. It's what causes doors to open, yokes to break, and atmospheres to shift. When the oil comes, things accelerate, things align. Things that were hard become effortless because you're no longer moving in your strength, you're moving in divine flow. The oil confirms the call, it seals the assignment, it breaks the limits off of your life and marks you for the next season of purpose. There are moments when prophecy becomes reality, not in mystery, not in theory, but in living manifestation. This is one of those moments. You are not just hearing the word, you are walking into it. What was spoken over you in quiet places, what was declared through dreams and visions is now taking form. This is the fulfillment of prophetic time. The promises that once seemed distant are stepping into the now. The words that once brought hope are now bringing results. You're standing at the intersection where what was foretold meets what is unfolding. Prophetic time doesn't wait for the natural to align. It pulls the supernatural into your present. And when it arrives, it is undeniable. The wind shifts, the doors open, the confirmation is everywhere. You realize that what you were waiting for is no longer coming. It's here. You are not chasing the word anymore. You are standing in it. There comes a moment when God no longer allows himself to be only a concept, only a tradition, only a distant belief. There comes a time when he moves beyond what you've heard about him, beyond what you've read, and steps into your reality in a way that leaves no room for doubt. You will know, not just with your mind, but in your bones, in your breath, in the very core of your being, that he is the Lord. This is not about religion. This is about encounter. When he moves in such a way that explanations fail and only awe remains, when he fulfills what no man could promise, when he restores what you gave up on, when he reveals the reason for every tear, every battle, every weight, in that moment your spirit will bow, not from pressure, but from revelation. You will not need to be convinced. You will simply know. He allows the delay so the unveiling can be undeniable. He permits the wilderness so the breakthrough is unmistakably his. He doesn't just want to bless you. He wants to reveal himself through the blessing. He doesn't just want to answer prayer. He wants to show you who he is through the answer. When it comes, it won't be subtle. It won't be something you wonder about. It will be clear, overwhelming, and deeply personal. The one who spoke the stars into being will speak into your life. And when he does, the only response will be reverence. Everything he does, everything he allows is leading to that revelation that you may know, not from afar, not secondhand, but face to face, that he is the Lord, the same yesterday, today, and forever. The God who sees, who hears, who acts. And when you know, truly know, everything changes, not just your circumstances, but your identity, your perspective, your walk. You will carry the knowledge, not as theory, but as fire, because you have seen him move, and nothing will ever be the same. And now, with every word spoken, with every truth declared, it all comes to this, tonight, May 8th, 2025. Not just another evening, not just another point on the calendar, but the moment heaven has marked, the night God has chosen to reward you. This is the hour where destiny collides with obedience, where the sound of the shofar announces the end of delay, and where hidden things break into the light. The enemy could not stop it. Time could not cancel it, because what God decrees must come to pass. And when it happens, when the breakthrough arrives, when the reward manifests, when the shift becomes visible, you will not boast in your strength. You will not point to your effort. You will fall to your knees, lift your eyes, and whisper with trembling awe, "Now I know that you are the Lord." Thank you for opening your heart, for listening, for standing in faith. May this word ignite something eternal in you. May you walk in expectation, because the time is now. God bless you. God keep you, and may your reward come tonight.